teach that very important topic, what is called as Module 3, FRBM or Fiscal Consolidation. It's very simple only. Have you got the material, Module 3? This term is very important. What is called as Fiscal Consolidation. What do you mean by consolidation? You're consolidating something. What do you mean by fiscal consolidation? It's regarding the debt. It's regarding the public debt of the government, or it's regarding the borrowings of the government. Now, in this topic, in fiscal consolidation, you need to be very thorough with this concept, fiscal deficit. Now, it's very clear for you. What is fiscal deficit? Simple definition. It is the borrowings raised by the government in that particular financial year. Now, what is the problem with borrowings? You have to pay interest. I'll tell you the situation of India. Try to understand that 80% of the borrowings we take for a particular budget, somewhere near, is used to service the previous interest. Imagine if in the coming budget, how much the government is raising. The government is raising 5 lakh crore, just approximately I am telling. It's more than that. And if 4 lakh crore is used to pay the previous debt interest, then very less only we have used for productive investment. So that's not, this is what is called as debt trap. Debt trap. You are borrowing to pay the previous means interest. So that's not good for the economy. So we are servicing our debt. We are borrowing to service our debt. So to avoid that, what the government have to do in the coming years, try to bring down the deficits, both deficits, what? Revenue deficit and fiscal deficit, So fiscal consolidation is nothing but telling the government to consolidate your fiscal, that is by ensuring that the revenue deficit and fiscal deficit is at an appropriate level where the government can pay, or the government should ensure that, and it will be this revenue deficit and fiscal deficit. I told you, it is in relation to a percentage of, it's in relation to a GDP, it's in relation to the national income of the country. Now, regarding to ensure this goal of fiscal consolidation, I am telling very important current affair. Okay, you have read a lot of article on FRBM. Now, after the budget, FRBM, lot of articles will come on FRBM. Now, try to understand why this is in news and why it's very important for you regarding FRBM. Now, try to understand what is FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management. FRBM is Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management. It is telling the government to be responsible in relation to the fiscal and while managing your budget. In the sense that don't borrow beyond a limit or borrow for only for a purpose. Okay, for that, what this FRBM talks about, to make the union government responsible. The parliament way back in 2003 have passed an act. It's very important act. In 2003, the government have passed an act, what is called as FRBM Act. So since it is an act, it has made obligatory on the part of union government, and there are separate laws for the state government. I am not going to that part. On the part of the union government, to follow what is provided in the act. And the major point of this act is that, okay, it has asked the union government to strictly stick to the fiscal roadmap, in the sense that it has set a target. It has set a target that it has given a lot of norms, that it has asked the government to ensure that the fiscal deficit and revenue deficit is brought down from the existing level. It has asked the government not to borrow from the RBI. FRBM says that now onwards we should not borrow from the RBI. If you are borrowing, it should be under special circumstances. It also said that don't give guarantee. You know that guarantee. Now what is the specialty of guarantee, giving guarantee? If you give guarantee to someone and that person is not paying the loan, the guarantor have to pay this. So similarly, the central government will give guarantee. The central government can give guarantee to public sector undertaking or to the state government loan. But basically, similar, if you notice one thing, while discussing Uday, in Uday, state government is giving guarantee to the DISCOM's loan. Similarly, central government also can give guarantee. So regarding the guarantee also, it's FRBM clearly says that don't give beyond your capacity. It has set a target. What is that? Don't give a guarantee for a particular financial year more than 0.5% of the GDP. And most important thing is that to make fiscal matters transparent, it has made it compulsory for the finance minister every year to come up with 3 major reports or 3 major statements. 3 major statements, by saying that every financial year the finance minister, while placing budget, they will place the 3 major important statements regarding the fiscal matters of the country. The one is regarding macroeconomic framework. It's given in the material. See the material. Just have these things you will come across. In page number 2, FRBM Act says that there is one is regarding macroeconomic framework. Have you seen that? Macroeconomic framework, it talks about, see, macroeconomic indicators regarding the GDP growth of the country. Regarding the GDP growth. Regarding the fiscal imbalance. What is this fiscal imbalance? What is the fiscal deficit? Regarding the external account balance, we will discuss external account balance. That's a very important macroeconomic indicator we will discuss while discussing external sector. So macroeconomic framework they have to give it. Then other reports like fiscal policy strategy statement. Please go through it. Midterm fiscal policy statement have to be given. So once the statement is placed by the finance minister, everybody knows the fiscal situation of the country. Especially in the midterm fiscal policy statement, 4 important indicators have to be shown. That is revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, tax to GDP, and finally, what is the outstanding debt, total debt. What is the total debt? It's there, 1, 2, 3, it's given there, na? Total outstanding debt, tax to GDP, revenue deficit and fiscal deficit. Now once the finance minister placed this, everybody knows, okay, this is it. Okay, so FRBM Act have set a target. FRBM Act also have said that, okay, revenue deficit has to be eliminated or has to be, there should not be any revenue deficit at this period. Earlier, it has given a year. Just see the FRBM Act, what is the year it is mentioned. Just mark it over there. FRBM Act says that by March 31st, 2008, revenue deficit has to be eliminated. Keep this in mind. It only Act says that. But later on, in the next year, the government comes with FRBM rules. Both are important. FRBM Act, to give more detail to the FRBM Act, the government came up with FRBM rules. In the rules only, it made a slight change. It changed the date to the next financial year. That is 2008-9. So don't get confused. FRBM Act asked the government to reduce the revenue deficit by 2008, and FRBM rules, it shifted to 2008-9. So while FRBM rules said two things, FRBM rules set one more target. Okay, the target is by 2008-9, it's very important. The revenue deficit has to be nil by 2008-9. The revenue deficit has to be nil. There is an advantage if the revenue deficit is nil. If the revenue deficit is nil, fiscal deficit obviously will come down. So fiscal deficit will come down. Now fiscal deficit is what? It is the borrowing, and this borrowing is used for what? For productive expenditure. If there is revenue deficit, what does it mean? There is revenue expenditure is more than revenue receipts. You are using the fund borrowed for what? For unproductive expenditure. It's not creating. So if there is no revenue deficit and if there is fiscal deficit, is it good for the economy? Yes, we are going for productive expenditure. So that's very important. So, and it also set, this is very important, it also set 3%. So keep this in mind, see the year. So by FRBM rules clearly set a target. What is the target? By 2008-9, revenue deficit 0, fiscal deficit 3%. And it also explained, I am telling very important point. It also explained how to achieve it, how to reach this target. It has said, it has asked the government to reduce revenue deficit by a certain percentage, reduce revenue deficit for every financial year, reduce revenue deficit by 0.5% and fiscal deficit by 0.3%. A fixed target was given to the government. FRBM rules have given, the rule have got the power from the FRBM Act, have clearly set a target. How to achieve this target of 3% and nil? How? Every year reduce revenue deficit by 0.5% of GDP and fiscal deficit 0.3% of GDP. And it was made mandatory. And it said that you can't deviate from this target, fixed day, my yearly fixed target. You can deviate only under if there is any extreme situation have arisen, like natural calamity or special circumstances, like that. So it was well placed. It was a good year. I told you while discussing national income that 2005, 6, 7, 8 was everything was good. India was growing, GDP was growing at a high 9% and above. But suddenly, unexpected event happened. Suddenly, unexpected. What is that? Global financial crisis. Now this crisis have started hitting every economy and it has reached India also. Now a dilemma happened. There is a response, there is a commitment to the FRBM Act. What? To reduce the target, means reduce the fiscal deficit and eliminate revenue deficit. But already the Act itself provided a provision. A special circumstances have come. So government have shifted the date, the goal from 2008-9 to, it has extended a date. It has extended the date to a particular coming year. It has shifted the goal from 2008-9 to, means somewhere around, it was earlier 13-14. But again later it was shifted. That's why I am not telling, that's not important for you. Earlier it was shifted to 2013-14. Now the goal to be achieved 3% and 3% of fiscal deficit and revenue deficit is 0 to be achieved by at a later date. And what the government have done from 2007-8 onwards is government have seen that okay, the economies may go for a slowdown. Economy may go for a slowdown. You know what is slowdown? GDP growth coming down. So to boost the economy and to ensure, to increase the growth rate. What the government have done? Government have come with a fiscal stimulus package. Very important. The government have come with a fiscal stimulus package. How the government can stimulate the economy fiscally? How the government can fiscally stimulate the economy? There are two ways. One is by reducing taxes. So from the revenue part, in relation to revenue part, from the receipt part, what the government can do? They can reduce taxes. I already told you excise duty was brought down as part of fiscal. Excise duty, service tax, everything was brought down at that time. Mainly excise duty. Then the government started increasing the government expenditure. Public expenditure increased. What do you mean by public expenditure? Government expenditure. So two things happened parallelly. So this is what is called as reduce tax, increase public expenditure. What will happen to the deficit? Expenditure increased, revenue decreased. What will happen to this gap? Fiscal deficit will increase. The fiscal deficit suddenly increased. Revenue deficit also increased. Then after a few years, the economy started again growing. Then there was lot of pressure from the international community, especially from the credit rating agency. See, we are going to downgrade you. We are going to downgrade you. Your rating is very poor. You are having high public debt. Your fiscal deficit is so high. Then that time, then Finance Minister Chidambaram said that no, I will again restart this fiscal consolidation plan, and then he set a target to achieve by this date we will achieve the goal of FRBM rules. Okay. Then, but again the economy is free. After that, the economy could not able to come back like in the earlier year of 2005-06. This was extended again when this new government came back to power. When the new government came back to power, they extended again to the date here was, this is current affair, very important. This date was extended to, this date is extended to 2017-18. This year is having any speciality? That is the coming financial year. So this target have to be achieved by 2017-18. Now what is, so as per this FRBM targets, it was like this. 2016, see actually don't go by this 0.5 and 0.3%. It was mentioned in the FRBM rules, but once it was, the government started revising, the new government given a different fiscal, this is what is called as fiscal consolidation roadmap. Whenever you hear the word fiscal consolidation roadmap, it is given by the finance minister how to achieve this fiscal goal of eliminating revenue deficit and reaching the 3% of fiscal deficit. So as per the fiscal consolidation roadmap given by the current finance minister, it will, see, it was actually taken by the Chidambaram, what he has said it, he only extended few years to finally extended to, he said that we will achieve it by 2017-18. So as per the plan, it was like this. Regarding fiscal deficit, in 2016-17, it will be 3.5% of GDP. This was already committed. Committed that fiscal deficit will be 3.5% of GDP in which year? In 2016-17. That we will see that 2016-17 is not over, but everybody is expecting that. It will be 3.5% of GDP. Fiscal deficit will be 3. So there is no problem. Now the problem is whether the finance minister will commit to the as per the plan in the next year 2017-18. It has to be, for this to happen, if the finance minister have to bring down the fiscal deficit, what all things he have to do? He have to increase the revenue, he have to reduce the expenditure. Now what happened in this year? Demonetization or related activity growth have come down, revenue will come down. So in the coming year also that impact will be there. So now the finance minister is in a dilemma. So what the government have done is in 2016, the government have appointed a panel. The government have 5-member committee have been appointed. A panel called FRBM panel, headed by N.K. Singh. I already sent you the article. So already just on Monday, this panel have submitted the report, FRBM report to the finance minister. It has not been made public. It's because budget is nearby. So after the budget, FRBM panel report will be made public. Once the report is public, we will have an idea. So it is said that the finance minister will follow the committee report. The finance minister will follow the committee report. So we don't know what the committee. So actually, what the finance minister while appointing this panel have asked is whether to follow this fixed target. What is this fixed target? This is a fixed target, or to follow a range. What is the range? See, whenever when the budget is placed by the finance minister. When the budget is placed by the finance minister have to say that in the coming year fiscal deficit is this much. There was a fixed target has to be there. Now instead of saying a fixed target, the finance minister will say that it will be in fiscal deficit will be in this range, not like this 3.5 of GDP, 3% of GDP. That's fixed target. Instead of that, now finance minister will say that in the coming year, fiscal deficit will be in the range of 3 to 3.5%. If it is that range, the finance minister can ensure that, okay, I told only range. What can I do? Situation was like this. I am continuing with 3.5%. A pause has happened. We will be achieving it in the further year. So this is the basic purpose of appointing this panel, so that the government can shift that blame to the expert committee. Committee has recommended what I have done. Committee said that you can follow the range because the prevailing circumstances is asking to go. Already the international rating agency have said that okay, don't go it. See, one of the success of the present finance minister is that in the first 3 years, the success of the present finance in the first 3 years, if you are from the budget point of view, the success of the first 3 years, the 3 years budget is that the finance minister was able to stick to the fiscal consolidation plan. What does it mean? He was able to achieve the fixed target of fiscal deficit. He have achieved it. Now regarding the 4th year and 5th year, he knows that it's impossible to do it. So better committee have recommended, and already one member have created some problem. We don't know what he has said that. The chief economic advisor have said that I am against this. So already I think the committee have not seen this committee. RBI governors also there. The committee have not supported the government view. The committee I think have recommended to follow a little bit room only have been given to the government regarding. So that's the reason why the chief economic advisor, who is also a panel member, 5-member panel member, have objected to the committee report. We don't know the details because it's not in the public domain. We will be knowing after the report. So watch those articles. We'll be updating. We'll give you a current affair material on the panel report recommendation because it's very important. So this is the background regarding why FRBM Act was passed, and what are the salient features of this FRBM Act. Why? So the basic aim is that FRBM is good for the country or not? Yes, because it will make, for the first time, it has made the government fiscally responsible and accountable to the parliament, because it is an act passed by the parliament. It has to place every year report. It has to be made transparent. If it is not achieving the target, it has to give reasons to the parliament. So it's a very good thing regarding the FRBM Act have done. And now the government have to take a decision regarding the present scenario is creating a problem in achieving the target. So that's the reason why the government appointed a panel. Panel have given the recommendation. We don't know what the panel have recommendation have given. It will be public after the budget. You read it and update. So already material base, everything has been given in the material. So already a question have been asked from FRBM. Please answer those questions. The first answer that FRBM question. Question 3. ABCD question, read all the, follow the rule. What is the answer? Because nowhere FRBM talks about primary deficit. So this is the advantage of knowing the concept, what is primary deficit and all these things. Answer is C. Question number 4, 2006 question. Answer is C. Now answer the two, there are two questions related with fiscal stimulus. Answer question number 1. ABCD. Read all the statement. What is the answer? Bombay. Answer question number 2. 3 statement question. Follow the elimination method. Cutting the tax rate. Yes. 1 is there, so you can eliminate. Choice B. Increase the government spending. Yes. So you can eliminate. Choice C. Abolishing the subsidy. No. If the subsidy is abolished, the price will increase. So it's not the case. Answer is 1 and 2. Answer is 1 and 2.